we was kind of telling you something about some little Tims that we put in there so we can keep the cold coming up from the ice. No, I think we just need one end. Those other three over there, we'll just leave them. We don't drag them all over there. We'll take the one over and show them how it works. They'll get it. What we do is we flop these open when we get out on the ice fishing. Okay, we take our ice auger and we drill our little hole down. Generally, we drill one up front and maybe one here in the back, or maybe two up front, and we skip this. It depends on how fishy we feel. Okay, then when we get those ice holes drilled, it brings up a little bit of ice that's around the hole and stuff. Well, then we take these little Tims. I got 4 of these little buggers. And we just bring them over here, and they sit down. Plunk. Now, feel that air, how it quit? Mm-hmm. Okay, and they're generally sitting around a little bit of ice. And we've never had them freeze down, but they slide into the ice. But it's warm in here, and it keeps them warm. Then when you get ready to go, then you just pull these little guys back up out of there. And generally, I have them sitting back in behind where Betty robbed my spot with her bird feed. So we got these. We've been putting these over in another outdoor shed. But anyway, if you want to see that again, here's how simple it is. Plunk. Now, if you're out on some water and you're floating, don't drop that in there because they will sink. Oh, they said, well, you know, I'd be a smart head. Well, anyway, sometimes we like to have a touch of humor out here because shit, sometimes you get tired of all work and no play. Okay, but that's the way it is on the doors. And this little guy here, you just click him back over. I over-clicked him, but anyway. And then if you look around here, for any rodent to get in, well, if you go looking around here, they got to have a hole. And there's no place for a rodent hole. And outside there's no place for them to dig into but steel. So the only place they can drill through is this wood. They've never bothered it because they can't hang up there to try to drill a hole through the wood. And then like these little things here, they're all tin lined inside and outside. And they can't get into there, so. And we used a lot of those, you know, those little pop rivets where we drill a little hole through, clink. See, that's how all this like tin is on there. It's like valley tin that you use when you tin a roof of a house and you're going through the valley. It's just simple stuff. Okay, now, Ann wanted us to explain a little bit why we built the thing the shape it is and why. So we'll get out here and we'll tell you about that in a little bit. Sarah, are we back on there? Yep. Okay, we had a few guys had questions about the ice house. So we're going to try to answer some of them, and then we got a little list of them. But they kind of wanted to know how we held the ice house stable when we come in and unhooked it off the four-wheeler so it ain't flopping all over. Okay, I built some real simple little things. They're on this little tubing structure. And what it is, it's just got a little pin that goes through here. And it's got different holes in it. And we just step on that and put that down in the dirt. And we get the thing kind of level. And there's 4 of them on. And then sometimes if you kind of got to lift up a little bit, you want a little bit off there, you kind of lift up here. I put handles here in the back. And trust me, them some bitches are on there. Then we built you a door latch that ice don't bother, has no effect. I mean, this is not a barn system at all. It's its own invention for this ice house. Big old lever here like this. I mean, you can padlock it shut. But then you open the door up. And here's your mechanism. Simple. Spring load. And it's got a wedge lock here. And it's nothing that's super solid and tight. So in cold weather and ice, it functions perfect. I had 0 failure with that. And it's braced up good, and I mean, it's rugged shit. You can about pull outfit with that. Okay, then you like that, spring lock. You got a door that's shut. And that's spring loaded. Okay, our door. That's all built out of 1-inch tubing. And we actually bent these corners. If you see how sharp that's bent, I mean, that's a bend off my tubing bender, but you ain't showed them that yet. But anyway, it's interesting. And then, you see, this is all steel. And you know, most of the time mice, if you got them around, they like to drill into your little corners to get in. Well, we put a little iron brace in there, and even if they tried to drill through the steel, I got to watch them if they come with torches, and you know they're going to try to get in. But anyway, there's just no way for nothing to get in. Okay, now this little guy here, we're going to rotate him back around. To my ice fishermen that feel this has got a lot of appearance of a sheep herder shack, there's a reason for it. One of them is I build a trailer that I could put on my trailers that I pull behind my vehicles. Okay, and then the second reason for it was I needed a place for 6 55-gallon barrels. Okay, now on here you'll see these hooks. And down here you'll see a hook. Over here you'll see a hook. And up here you'll see a hook. Okay, you know those little ratchet tie-down straps you got that's supposed to hold 1,000 pounds or whatever? Okay, I put 2 of them on here. I hook the bottom, roll the barrel up here, hook this, and then we cinch them up. And then here's the barrel on. Okay, now, the other barrel fits here. And the other barrel fits up here. Okay, now I got 6 55-gallon barrels on there. And if I do fall through the ice, how the hell am I going to sink unless somebody sneaks my barrels off? And I doubt they're going to come off there and try to get a barrel off there. So that's the theory behind that. Then on the four-wheeler, you got one barrel that clamps into the front and one that goes in the back. Well, we had this set up at one time. It looked so ridiculous. I mean, I got to tell you, it was safe, but it looked totally ridiculous. So I said, bullshit, if the ice ain't a foot thick, let's just stay the hell off of it. And who the hell wants to fall through the ice anyway, like a bunch of idiots? Yeah. So anyway, we got rid of all that crap, and that's kind of a little bit why that's built like that. That's the way these hooks are on here. It ain't like high wind hooks when we want to anchor to the ground. Of course, I suppose maybe you could. If you hit a tornado, you could anchor it down. I'd use these clear, these a lot heavier duty. Okay, and then the tongue. We had a little discussion on the tongue. I was going to engineer the tongue so I could pull a pin and pull it out. It made a floppy-ass connection on our experimental one I built, so I was going to figure out how in the hell could I engineer it tighter. Well, then it looked like it's just a clumsy, sloppy thing, so simplicity said, stupid, leave your tongue straight, solid. So that's what we did. And we got our braces here. Now, we can, which we ain't got the thing here, but there's a thing here that hooks onto here, hooks on over there, and it's like a big old tray sits here. And this little guy here, he latches down, it's got a rest that rests on this. Okay. See, in this little area here, I've got 2 sheets of material that's built just exactly like this, that long. And it has a tubular frame under it to screw to it. Okay, and there's a piece that allows it to slide on here. And the same thing does when you're up here. See, it slides on here. Okay, then that makes this area this wide. Well, then our full mattresses fit on that. Okay, and then if you're really big, you don't want to sleep on this side, especially Betty's got her seat in. And if you're really big, well, you're going to have to move your wood blocks out of there because, I mean, you can't stretch out of here because they want to know the length and the stuff about this thing. Well, roughly, well, here. We're going to take this little guy here and set this table thing down. There. And this little guy here, that's for trimming off my little tree roots. So we'll flop you over there. And, you know, the table's fairly rugged. Because, see, I weigh, what, 185 and a little extra? Well, shit. I mean, does it hold the guy up or does it hold the guy up? I mean, you can come over and sit with me, too, if you want to. I mean, some things you build it so it lasts. And trust me, without any legs and that little thing, me, when he sat over here on the corner, they don't believe you can't sit on the corner, just look at that. Anyway. Anyway, I like to build shit that's tough. But okay, they want to know how big this thing is. So the length
I'll back up out of
The
here.
length of this is 8 feet.
8 feet?
That's what I thought. We used a sheet of plywood on the bottom, 4 by 8. And I think the bottom is 4 feet wide. I think what it is, that's that exterior plywood that you're supposed to put in an area that'll rot. Well, hell, that's a bigger sheet than that. Wait a minute, hell, it's cut in half. So we must have used, we must use some of our trailer sheets when we was building this, and I put the two halves together. You can see the little seam right here. Mm-hmm. And the little seam goes right here, and there's a brace goes down there. Well, it probably goes on the frame that the tongue's on. Yep. Okay, now the width in here, after you get into the inside width is, I'm probably saying, time we went to the outside, we could actually see it's probably 7 foot on the outside. It's kind of 7 by 8.
7 by 8?
Yeah, about 7 by 8. Then my height in here, well, we're up to 78 inches there. I'm about 6'2". Got boots on, I'm a little taller, but I'm tall enough, I hit my head enough the way it is. So anyway, yeah, so that's kind of about the very height of it there. And then we do all little fun things in here. We generally have this here, and this little thing here is stretched around here, and I got my mattresses rolled up here. And then we got this here to hang some clothing and stuff on. And then sometimes if you get a little damp or wet, we got this here hung up in here, and you can kind of flop something over it and it'll dry some. So we've got some towels or something we're drying off. But anyway, that works good there. And our little lantern thing, we're going to look for our little supplies for that. My bulb is gone some damn place. I don't know who ran off with it, but...
So they were interested in the insulation?
Okay, the insulation in the thing. Okay, now here's what I done. And back then when we insulated this, okay, this has actually got some 1-inch styrofoam on it. Because this framework is all inch tubing. Mm-hmm. Okay, and then we bent the tubing. You can see exactly how the tubing is bent up. I mean, we just shaped it. And there's the center, and back down it went to the other side. And we just built that 8 foot. Okay, and then we just put pieces of insulation in between the pieces of tubing. Well, they didn't have that. You know, that nice little styrofoam you can get down that goes sprayed and so. Well, back then, shit, I don't know if they even had the shit 25 years ago, but we was using silicone sealer, you know, and I'm sure, that really worked good. So then we just put some silicone in here, shoved the piece up in there, and it would stick. And about the only little cracks we got, I see this one up here, has got just a little bit of looseness. And now we'll probably test out some of that new foam spray stuff. See, and I can go poke over here and go, and then just hold it up there and bango. So, you know, that ain't, you know, I didn't even notice any roof problems until we was out here. But that little piece is getting a little bit loose there. Yep. I'll be darned. Well, that can be fixed easy. Okay, and then we had some other little hook things that we had hooked onto here that we tied on here with some stuff. Because sometimes you got to tie a lot of stuff on. There's a little stuff that we tie on over here. And we screwed up over here in the front. And there's a little hook tie over there. You can see he's up over there. And we do a little tie. And then you've got another little hook tie over here, which you can put a few strings through to hang stuff on. Another little hook tie up in here. One there. See, I think we tied... Well, what did we tie it back there? Some odd thing. Place for the lantern back here. Because we got a lantern in the front, lantern in the back. Anyway, she'll probably bust up a few clips to give you a little rough idea about this little thing, but we've had a lot of fun with it, so I guess you're going to call the thing probably a 7 by 8 trailer. There they count the tongue and everything, but the inside quarters are 7 by 8. Hey, and then if you want some measurements on this stove, okay, 16 inches. And I told them we were supposed to have been about 16 inches up. I was bolstering Oh, piss I was off. We were 18 inches up. I thought we was about 16, I was guessing. Okay, and then this over here, well, that's about 16 over here. And this one over here, well, I guess down inside here, but actually the metal's up here, but no, I guess that's pretty close. Okay, and then I don't know if they can see this. Let's take this thing outdoors. Material here is separate from this out here. And you see all them holes that are drilled through that piece? Okay, that is so, this stove is actually built away from this. It's built onto this tubing. Okay, and there's that inch gap that goes from here, and there's air can come up behind this. And this is probably a piece of 10 or I think this is 1/8 inch plate. Yeah, because I think that's a piece of 1/8 inch plate steel. This is, I think, 3/8 flat. There should be a chunk of 3/8 flat down here. And then I think this is some of that 1/8 inch plate. This here's like, I think, some 10 gauge. Okay, but that's so we get air to come around this thing and air to draw in through here. So this don't get hot underneath. And none of this stuff gets hot because it's actually like a fire out there in midair with air going up around it. Okay, and then I still put my wall shields up inside here. Like you see, this has still got its little wall shield up out here. And it's got its back shield on back of the stove. And then when he goes to the outdoors, well, see, he's out there anyway. You know, I mean, there ain't nothing for him to burn on the inside. So anyway, then back he comes. And then I had one guy ask me if we could unhook that and take that off. I said, well, shit, I don't know. It's been so damn long since I built it, I can't tell you. So we should look at that today so I can at least answer him. I think I got it all welded right in there. I don't think there's, and that probably would have been a good idea if a guy would have maybe engineered that to pop it off, but I don't know why, because I don't want to take it anyplace. You know.
I guess if you wanted less weight.
Well, yeah, but you got to have a stove. I'll sacrifice a daily diet, so I got a good stove. Look at Wrigley. He says, for Christ's sake, cook something in there. Okay. Now, you notice how this is sort of cone-shaped, this little pin thing? Okay, when you get this thing shut, okay, it goes down into like a big washer about right here. Okay, you see that? Okay, so as it jiggles, it just jiggles tighter, 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 and there's just no rattle there at all. I mean, it's a real simple system. Yeah, and then I got it on a chain so they wouldn't run off with my pin. Because, you know, oh, that's a little hitch pin, let's take it. I know I need it for this. Oh, Blue, did you come in and want to check out the stove? Oh, Wrigley did too. You coming in too, Roxy? Gee whiz. Okay, well, I can go in here. Ken just popped riveted on there. We used a really light, I think it's like maybe aluminum tin. It's really light stuff. We found some of the lightest stuff we could find.